here for the Grumpy Gnome I Hate Everything podcast. I'm going to go ahead and kick off this first episode because I haven't had any volunteers from Bravo Company to record their story or be interviewed. So, which I don't blame them. Who wants to be first for this? Who wants to be the first to tell their shit and dredge up all this crap? So I'm going to leave the podcast open. There's going to be no schedule. Just as they filter in, and want to drop their pack and get some shit off their chest, then I'm all for it. And I'll do it as they come in. But right now I'm going to go ahead and kick this off for everybody and I guess tell my side of the story, I guess, or whatever, my memories. First I'm going to tell you how the name the Grumpy Gnome came to be. My first wife, the mother of my children, whenever she'd get mad at me, she'd always call me an ugly little troll or a nasty little troll or a tiny little troll or whatever. And then my second wife, who hated everything about my first wife, didn't want to take anything from her, so she changed it from troll to gnome. You short little ugly gnome. You just gnome this, angry little gnome. You just whatever little gnome. So my kids always call me Grumpy, and so when I just put the two together, Grumpy Gnome. That's how it came to be. But don't feel sorry for me. Oh my God, that's terrible. Oh no, I was a terrible husband, terrible boyfriend. So I deserved everything that was given to me, and I earned them all. So I didn't become a good father until I stopped drinking. So it's tough. So I earned everything I've been called. But that's how the name came to be. Just a little side note there for you. So I'll go ahead and kick this off, and this is a little baklava or whatever they call them now, or I just call them Haji scarves. But this is an ode to my team leader Delta. Just because he was the first one I've ever seen wear one of these, and he actually wore it in Iraq. We always gave him shit about it, but it's pretty damn cool. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Readers. Okay, so intro, rank, name, platoon, squad, or section with Bravo Company. So rank, I ended up being a staff sergeant. I was with 2nd Platoon, 1st Squad. So at the time I was a sergeant with 2nd Platoon, 1st Squad, squad leader with obviously the 1st Squad. Then after the Fallujah incident, I floated around and ended up in headquarters platoon, and then I finished up my tour patrolling around with them. They were a great bunch of guys. I love them. They took me in with open arms. Haker, Rakoder, Black, McClinton, all of them were awesome. It's great to patrol with, and locked on. Bravo Company wouldn't survive without the headquarters Bubbas. So salute to them. What were your reasons for joining the Marine Corps? Any boot camp polarity, receiving the EGA. The EGA is just the Eagle Globe and Anchor. They give you a little piece, the little symbol of the Marine Corps at the 12th week before graduation week. And it's usually on top of the Reaper for the West Coast Marines. I don't know where they do it in Parris Island. Can't be as cool as the Reaper. But my reasons for joining the Marine Corps, I was 21 years old doing jack shit in Abilene, Texas, delivering pizzas for Little Caesars. And, me and my buddies were sitting around one day just getting wasted. We looked at the TV and we saw the Marine Corps commercial. The guy holds the sword, the knight, and he gets struck by lightning, turns into a Marine with his blues, and, the Marine's got a sword. And like, oh, shit, yeah, let's do that. So then the next day, I think we watched Heartbreak Ridge, and then A Few Good Men. Those both are just 2 Marine recruiting videos. Heartbreak Ridge, Gunny Highway, Clint Eastwood. Everyone wants to be a Marine after watching that movie. So I think that afternoon or the next day, all 4 of us went down to the Marine recruiter's office. The recruiter, a staff sergeant, he got up and went to go take a piss or get something from the back, and some swag or whatever. And 2 of my buddies jumped up and went to the Air Force recruiter's office and said, "Nah, we're not doing this." So they went to the Air Force recruiter's office and made great careers out of the Air Force. Then my other buddy, he went reserve electrician. And then, so I went, infantry. No, I want to be infantry. Gunny Highway all the way. Yeah! And my staff sergeant, I had scored like an 80 or an 85 on my ASVAB. And my GT score was like, I don't know, my line score was like, I went 17 or 120. I could have done any job in the military I wanted. But God bless my staff sergeant, that my recruiter, he tried to get me to go intelligence or some other field, and I just no infantry. So away I went. So any boot camp. So yeah, I joined the infantry. Me and my buddy went together to boot camp, but I really didn't see him much in boot camp because we were in the same platoon. But I got eventually got put into guide spot, and I never really saw him after that. But in boot camp, all of us guys that scored high on the ASVAB, they took us off to the side, and we took some weird tests and picture tests, and also these weird, I don't know what it was. It was just weird tests, and then I don't know what became of that. I got sent back to the regular platoon after that. I don't know if my background cleared or I just bombed the test. Who knows? But nothing came of that. And then, but the only boot camp hilarity I remember was our first week. There was a kid from Texas with us. He came, flew over with us. Went to Dallas MEPS with us, and God, he was a weird little kid. His name was I won't say his name, but BCDs, the big old birth control glasses, and oh man, that first when we got picked up by our drill instructors at receiving, and we're going to our squad bay. They get you in the foot lockers, and they get you all this crap, and you dump your foot lockers, and you have to run and put it all back. You're getting screamed at, blah 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 blah. So he dumps his foot locker. Drill instructors dump his foot locker, and he runs over there, and we all run over there to help him because we know he's a little bit slower. And then, sure as shit, man, the drill instructors came around. I don't know if he was dropping a tear or what, but they grabbed his foot locker and they tried to dump it again, and that kid jumped on his foot locker and started screaming, "No, not my foot locker, not my foot locker!" Ah! It was like a pack of sharks. Every drill instructor from around just got that kid. He was crying. He was still laying on top of his foot locker, and then eventually it took 4 drill instructors, and they flipped the foot locker with him on top of it, and it's going everywhere. He's crying in the middle of the squad bay. He didn't last. I think he was thrown into the psych platoon after that. I saw him in a chow hall waving to me with a big smile when he was serving us food one day. So yeah, he didn't make it. But yeah, that's the only boot camp hilarity I really remember. The rest of the time was just it's not as bad as you think. It's just a mental game. It's just fuck games, just yelling at you and if you crack or not. Receiving my Eagle Globe and Anchor, that was pretty cool. I was up on top of the Reaper. Just every Marine that's been there and gotten their Eagle Globe and Anchor on top of the Reaper knows what I'm talking about. It's a special moment. You see the Pacific Ocean out in the distance, and just feel the breeze off the ocean. And I dropped the man tier that day, so it was a special moment. That was when I got my EGA. All right, next question. How did you end up at Bravo Company? To include SOI if you want. Oh, wow, Bravo Company. How did you end up in Bravo Company? I'm not going to go through SOI. Everyone knows what SOI is, School of Infantry. But that's just like an extra boot camp for guys that are going grunt. Let's see. I got out the Marine Corps right before 9/11, January 01. And the only reason I got out was because the Osprey crash, and I was kind of burnt out on the Marine Corps after the Osprey crash, and losing half my squad. So I was just like, all right. So like before we were discharging, and under General Krulak, the previous commandant that I came under, he kept us all together. So all of us grunts came together. We didn't get straight from boot camp. We went to SOI together. We went to the fleet together, and we all checked out together, which was a bad idea, but I guess it turned out good because then when you guys pulled us off of the IRR, we all went in together again. So, we already knew our shit. So we were all getting out together, all of us sergeants and corporals, and we're sitting there and, talking to the career jammer, and I was like, well, can I switch MOS? I'll sign an 8-year contract and stay in, but I'd like to switch my MOS for 4 years. I want to go crash fire rescue because after the Osprey crash, I was all motivated to save crash victims or whatever. That's what career jammer said. Nope, you can go drill instructor. No, recruiter. No. I think troop handler at SOI. Yeah, fuck that. And then there was embassy duty, but that didn't count as a B billet. So that's basically it. And I just no, I don't want to do any of that shit. So, and then at the time, the re-enlistment bonus for grunt was this is before 9/11, was only $1,000 paid over 4 years. I remember getting yelled at by my staff sergeant, who I saw later in Iraq, that you guys want is money. Y'all want money. All you're in it for is money. I'm like, be a little something would be nice. It's a fucking misery of being a grunt, especially boat company, man. So, now we all checked out, and so I was just sitting around, and so 9/11 happened. I was out, but I was living in Arizona, and everyone gets motivated 9/11. I'm sure most of the young Bravo Marines joined because of 9/11. Most everyone joined because of 9/11. And so that's why I went back in, because of 9/11. But the nearest reserve unit, because I still, fucking around, think I'm going to become some, rich, whatever asshole, trying to get into the real estate game or whatever the hell it was I was trying to do. So I joined the local reserve unit, which was a bulk fuel Pogue unit. I think I lasted 3 drills. I mean, it didn't last long. The only significant thing was that my prior service recruiter that recruited me into that unit, he was a former boat company. Then he was a recon Marine. So me and him hung out together when I'd go there for drill. And we went to the field one day to take these Pogues to the gas chamber and then teach them, because, 9/11 happened. So, bulk fuel's getting up, maybe get activated to go. I don't know what bulk fuel does. I remember fueling up with them in Al-Assad. That was about it. So me and that recon bubba were going to go play aggressors. And, they were going to set up a little bulk fuel patrol base or whatever and patrol the perimeter. I don't know. It was stupid. So I remember they coming out of friendly lines, and me and the recon bubba, the staff sergeant, we kind of ambushed them. And I just remember one of them they didn't even return fire. It was but about a jam blanks or whatever, they didn't even return fire. They just stood up. One of them stood up and goes, "Hey man, we're on the same side." I'm like, yeah, that just doesn't. So I remember getting debriefed. We were at the debrief, and I remember the company guns the reserve company guns happened to be another recon bubba, and he wasn't the I&I company guns, but he was the reserve company guns, and he just said, "Sergeant Parkinson, you got a debrief?" And I'm like, "Yeah, all you fuckers are dead, man. You get lit up, you don't hesitate and try to figure out who's shooting at you. You just automatically return fire. That's the way we were trained to do it, and that's the way you need to do it. You got to silence them with overwhelming suppressive fire, and then you can fucking ask questions later." But that's the only significant thing I got from the reserve unit. So, it will come into play later during Fallujah. So that's why it's significant. So I would get in trouble there. So I knew my career was going to end if I stayed at the bulk fuel unit. I remember checking out. I remember getting screamed at by their active duty company gunny, which was a female. No, I'm not saying anything, but just coming from a grunt field and then getting yelled at for treating Marines like grunts and trying to get them locked on. And it wasn't even the female Marines that I was trying to lock on. It was the male Marines. They were the shitbags. So she was yelling at me, I can't treat them that way and all this shit. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm out of here. I'll just get my papers and walk. So that's what I did. And so to get to Bravo Company, I was still fucking around. I decided to move back to Texas. And then I was going to go get my EMT recertified. So I was driving from Texas to Arizona. And I got the call. The big ass cell phones back then. It's like 2004. So I got the call on the old big ass cell phone, and I was still probably a couple years behind people. It's just I think he was a gunny. Just Sergeant Parkinson. And I was like, wow, it's been a while since I've heard that. I'm like, yes. And he goes, this is Gunny so-and-so. And I'm like, roger that, Gunny. He goes, you're activated. You need to report to Bravo Company 123. Here's their phone number. And I was driving, so I was scrambling for a pen and trying to figure out how to write this number down. And he's like, you need to report to them as soon as possible. You need to give them a call. And I was like, roger that, Gunny. But is there any way I can go back to India Company 35? Can I do that? Instead of going to a reserve unit? I've never heard of Bravo Company 123. I don't even know what a 123 is. And but I do know what an India Company 35 is. And he's like, no, because all the Marines I trained were there. I'd just go back there and become a platoon sergeant or whatever. And he's like, nope, you need to report, and that's it. And I was like, roger that, Gunny. So I called, at the time, it's First Sergeant Green, who became Sergeant Major in the Marine Corps. At the time, I called him, and I was like, first sergeant, I just told I'm activated. I got to report to you. But I'm en route to Arizona to renew my EMT basic certification. Is it right if I do that and just report back? When I get done with that, and he goes, "Devil dog, just go do your thing. We're gonna need some EMTs." And then in my head, I'm like thinking, "Fuck." So I'm like, "All right, yeah, roger that, first sergeant." He gave me a date to be back there by, and so I was like, "Yeah, I can make that, no problem." So I went home. And I was holding this news in, because the next question is where and how were you told about your activation and loved ones' reactions. So my mom and my sister were living in Tucson at the time, and so I drove there, and the EMT, recertification happened to be there too. So I got there, recertified as an EMT basic, and I remember, just my mom made her normal homemade spaghetti and garlic toast, and I just sat there. I didn't know how to tell them. And, of course, the invasion had already happened, so that was blaring on the news. Marines were kicking ass. The invasion happened. Marines already kicked ass, and now shit's ramping up again because the Army took over, and the Army can't handle it. So now all hell's breaking loose. But we got that blaring in the TV in the background, and I go, "Mom, I got activated. I got to go back." And she goes, "The hell you do? What are you talking about?" Blah, blah. And my sister, God bless her, rest her soul. She's like, "Fuck you, you're not going back." "Yeah, no." And my mom starts screaming, "Your shoulder. I'm calling the congressman." I'm like, "Mom, this is what I trained for. This is what I did for 4 years. This is what." And this weird thing is, I wasn't talking, I wasn't getting all, because I was drinking. Oh, hell yeah, I was drinking. I was like, it's all. No, but I was never saying anything about, I'm going to go kill all these bodies. No, I'm going to drop bodies, all this stuff. No, the first thing out of my mouth, and, my mom, my sister would attest to it, was, if I can go over there and save one Marine, just my training can save one Marine, I will fucking be happy, Mom. My job is complete, and I can die a happy man. If I die over there saving one Marine, that means the training was worth it. Everything I did was worth it. And I just do remember saying that. It was just, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I don't remember ever saying, "Oh, I'm going to fucking drop bodies. My mom's reaction was not good. My sister's reaction was not good. And I'm sure it wasn't good for any other family member that heard their son was getting activated, especially their infantry. So, yeah, that didn't go over well. It was a quiet few days, and then when I left, drive back to Texas, and then go report into Louisiana to Bravo Company. It was solemn. And it was a quiet little goodbye, from what I remember. Let's see. What do you remember about training at Fort Polk? Shit. Oh my God. Okay, so I get to Bravo Company. I think I do one drill, and reserve infantry. As an active duty man, everyone knows, especially the reservists, they hate us active duty guys coming in. They hate us with a passion, and I don't blame them. It's like us, an active duty, getting a drill instructor coming into our unit. Oh, fuck, we hated those. Or butter bar lieutenant, running us everywhere, and it's like, what the fuck? It's just... so I understand the reservist side of it. The hate for us active duty guys, because we want you to be like active duty, and we're gonna thrash you like active duty, and you guys are looking at us like, "You fucking idiots," where this isn't active duty. But we were activated, so that makes us active duty. So I got there, did a drill, and then got all my gear, because I showed up in the old camis. The first sergeant was like, "Oh, devil dog, we gotta get you squared away." I saw the digi camis. I was like, "That's pretty cool." Got all that shit. That was the only new shit I got with the boots and the camis. All our gear was the same. So Fort Polk, we get back, and so everyone's getting ready to go 2 weeks at Fort Polk training. It's a mount facility, military operations urban terrain for the Army. Everyone's getting there, and I just remember some guy from 3rd Platoon. I'm sure all the other 3rd Platoon bubbles don't remember his name, but I just remember he was a squad leader too, and he was a sergeant, and all the sergeants were together, and he was one of those that was like, "Oh, I can't wait to drop bodies. Drop bodies. I'm going to drop bodies, and we're going to kill everybody. We're going to smoke everybody, and everyone's just going to, I'm going to drop bodies," So I said, "Okay, man." Some of us, the rest of the squad leaders are probably like, "Yeah, sure, man. All right, whatever you say. I mean, hopefully it comes true for you, man." But, he never showed back up, so I don't think he dropped any bodies. But Fort Polk, we get to Fort Polk. It's 2 weeks training. The only thing I remember about Fort Polk, it was humid as fuck. It was like Okinawa humid. I mean, it was like 100% humidity, 90 degrees, 95 degrees, 100% humidity. Our camis never dried. So yeah, that's what I remember about Fort Polk. It was just the armpit of America. It was just humid as shit. It just reminded me of Okinawa, just without the jungle. But yeah, it was miserable. I did realize during Fort Polk that I was not in grunt shape. Oh boy, I held it from the troops, but man, I was hurting. I was like, yeah, I'm not in grunt shape. So, but you know, that's what it did. It got me in grunt shape. But yeah, we just cleared buildings. I do remember I cannot remember their names, and please forgive me, Armory Bubbas. But the guys from the Battle of Mogadishu, the 2 Delta Force guys, they are immortalized at that Mount facility. They both got the Congressional Medal of Honors. I feel bad I don't remember their names, but watch Black Hawk Down or read the book. Yeah, it's worth reading. It's worth watching. But that's what I remember about Fort Polk. That and fucking speaking of drill instructors, Borba, Staff Sergeant Borba at the time, he was just straight from the drill field. I just remember him drilling weapons around Fort Polk, you know, just always doing drill and marching them everywhere. I mean, they look good. I'm not going to say you guys didn't look good. It just was an overkill, and we're grunts, man. We're out in the field. There's no time for drill. There's no time for drill. Let's see. Okay, so after Fort Polk, Family Day. What are your memories from Family Days? Family Day was confusing and complicated. I just met the squad, and when I was told, I had all the troublemakers from Bravo Company, UAs, bad attitude, so my squad was the troublemakers, and I was just getting used to my squad. I mean, I thought they were great. There's no, at the initial thing, there's no troubles. Everyone had their little quirks, just like I had mine. But I didn't see anything what they were telling me about my squad. So, but it was Family Day. It'd been a different story if I'd been with them for like years. Because like all these bubbas, from Bravo Company most of them had went to Cuba, for after in 01 to guard the prisoners. So at Gitmo, so they had all that bonding time. I didn't know. Burlingame, he came from India Company 3-5. I barely recognized his name until I saw him in formation. I did not remember him from the fleet at all because he was a Lance Corporal there, and I just was a sergeant, and and alcohol, I just drank so fucking much. I just barely remembered him. But I mean, how can you forget a red hair? Just fire your red hair anywhere. So, but I did recognize the name. I just forgot his face. And but then, B Game was in my squad, and so that was awesome. Prior active duty. All the squad leaders were prior active duty. It was weird, but it was just weird to see the IRR activation in full effect, and all that experience. So yeah, it was great. I mean, you had some squad leaders that, are Mount certified. We had some there. It's just crazy certification. So it came in handy. But Family Day, just meeting. I met some of you, and I'm sure I don't remember any of you. As far as parents, I was introduced, and I just remember the overwhelming feeling was, I was introduced to parents that people weren't even in my squad, and so that was a lot to take on. I'm sure all the other squad leaders were feeling the same. Just the overwhelming, just please bring my boy home safe. Just please bring my boy home safe. I mean, like, how do you answer that? I mean, how do you, in my head, I'm still thinking we're reservists, so we're not going to really see shit. I'm thinking India Company 3-5 and, 3-1 are going to see, which they did. But my old unit was going to see all the action, and little bastards, and I didn't get to go. But I thought reservists were just going to go over there and do full guard duty. I didn't know Bravo Company was going to see the amount of shit they did. But how do you answer a parent that says bring your boy home alive? And then how about the squad leaders that didn't? I've already been there. I've already lost squad members. I've already had to escort a body home, but it wasn't combat related. But I still faced a parent looking at me dead square in the eyes and blaming you for it. Why didn't you bring my boy home? Why are you alive? And he is not. And then especially with the Osprey crash, because everything got switched at the very end, I should have been dead. And everyone on my stick should have been dead. So I don't, so I've been there and done that. And, but just not in a combat situation. And it was, it weighed a lot on me. I don't know. I'm sure I answered just the normal squad leader answer, I will absolutely bring them home. But that's what I remember from Family Day. 29 Palms. Your thoughts on that ass end of the Marine Corps? Holy shit, 29 Palms. Oh, that is the ass end of the Marine Corps. And I feel sorry for all the 2-7 bubbas out there that have to be permanently stationed in that shithole. Active duty, I was there every fucking December, freezing my balls off. And that's how I knew, that's probably one of the coldest places I've ever been in my life is 29 Palms in the December. So every December we were out there for CAX doing live fires, all the ranges. Range 400, that's a 0311's nightmare. But I think it's a rite of passage. Every fucking 0311 should go through range 400 at 29 Palms. But I just knew what was coming. It's just shitty. It sucks. It's miserable. It sucks. It's hard. It offers no comfort because we're always outside sleeping on the fucking ground. So, 29 Palms sucks. And I feel sorry for the guys that are permanently stationed there. It was good training. I can't argue that. Just everyone was getting fucked up a lot. There's a lot of drinking. I remember all that. But again, I've been there before. Just humped, did grunt stuff. Squad performed excellent. Everything was performing great. I do remember one live fire exercise where we're taking the 7 tons and we're supposed to hop off and open fire on these targets. It was live fire. And this is just a little inclination of how fucked up my platoon commander was. And he was a Pogue enlisted, so don't get all, oh my god, he was an officer and you're giving him shit. No, he's a Pogue enlisted turd. So we disembarked this one thing, and we're supposed to be spread out online, the whole platoon, and we're just, first squad's first squad's getting off last, so it's going to be third all the way down here, which at the time was maybe his squad, and I think it was always Stockwell was second squad leader, and then my squad is supposed to be at the end here, getting off last, and we're going to take the far left flank. It was a clusterfuck as soon as we got off, and third and second squad were just meshed together, and it was just a straight up cluster, and our platoon commander was behind it and just smiled across his face. My squad, I had to yell cease fire. We didn't get the fire because I was like, no, we're not firing. We're way past the lateral limit. We can't do anything inside this lateral limit. It was a cluster. The other squad leaders, I guarantee, knew it was. But our platoon commander turned around, and Staff Sergeant Borba at the time, he was the range safety officer. And once I called ceasefire, he had to call ceasefire, and he stopped it because it was dangerous. And I remember our platoon commander turned around, looked at him, and was like, that looked great. And he looked at me, and I looked at him. That's it. And he goes, no, it did not. And he goes, we need to run that again. And so we ran it again, and it worked the second time. But that's what training's for. But it's just, an infantry platoon commander would have ripped our head off for that evolution of training because it was a clusterfuck. But that's what I remember, and that was one of my first inclinations, like, we're in for a long deployment with this dude. But, besides that, everyone did great. It was great training. There was a huge brawl, I guess, between active duty and Bravo Company. But I wasn't there. I was already over in Iraq with the rest of the squad leaders and section leaders. But I'll let one of the other troops talk about that because Special Culpepper, I guess that big bastard was just knocking people out. he got bit on his side. I know what that feels like too. So so I'll let one of the troops, if they eventually talk about it, what happened with that big brawl. But I wasn't there for that. Yeah, it would have been great if I had been. That would have been a blast. I'm sure. My troops would have had to pull me out of somewhere and get my ass kicked by about 4 or 5 different Marines. But it would have been a blast. So that's what I remember about 29 Palms. Let's see what the next question is. Iraq. Walk us through your deployment with Bravo Company 123. Arriving in country, Al-Assad, first patrol, first real firefight, Phantom Fury, Ramadi, whatever you want to talk about. Oh, this is where the bulk of this shit, the show is going to happen. So, okay. Arriving in country. So, we squad leaders and section leaders were going over early to do right seat, left seat with 2-7 that was coming home. So we're going to go over there early and learn from their squad leaders and section leaders about the AO, area of operation, and what else to do. Get a feel for the country. And, us squad and section leaders were excited. So we're getting ready to ship out, and I got a special permission since my family lived in Tucson, it wasn't too far away. So I got special permission on that last weekend to go see him real quick. Just because my squad had performed great. I remember on one range, the CO said that we were the best squad out there that performed that day. And that's when Jackson hit the target with the AT4. It was just the squad performed flawlessly. I mean, it's just that one day we just happened to be in sync and all the way through. So they kicked me a special pass, and I remember my mom driving me home, and I was asleep, and the gas started on my truck. This gas started going low, and I could feel it chugging. It woke me up, and I could see we're like a mile from the next gas station or 2 miles or whatever it was, and I accused her of purposely running out of gas on purpose. And she later admitted that she did. She was trying to run gas on purpose. And I asked her, I'm like, Mom, if you'd have done that, I would have missed a movement in wartime. That's Leavenworth. That's prison forever. I mean, she's like, oh, but I wouldn't have lost my boy. I'm like, what the fuck kind of thinking is that? But we got to the gas station, and we made it back. But I was running late. And so when I got to the parade deck to stage my gear with Atterbury and the rest of the guys, she drove away, and she had to pull over, and I guess she said I'm glad you didn't look back, and because I just pulled over and started bawling my eyes out and started weeping. So I'm sure mothers everywhere were doing the same when they had to drop their boys off or had to think about it. So I mean, I'm sure it was tough. It's always tough on the loved ones. But I really didn't think about my mom at that time. I didn't even look back and wave at her. I didn't even give her. I barely gave her a hug goodbye because I was running late, and she had to grab my gear and all my shit. So that would have been heartbreaking to see her pull over and start bawling at that time. So that was us leaving. So like I said, the squad and section leaders left I think 3 weeks early or a month early. I think it was like 3 weeks early. The plane trip over there was long, boring. I just remember before we left, Gunny Hoffman got us squad and section leaders together and told us, when you get over there, do not volunteer for shit. They're going to be asking for volunteers to go to Haditha, go to this place, go to that place, and they're going to be asking for infantry guys. So they're going to be asking the grunts to do it. And so I just remember that. And we fly. The flight was normal. We get over there. Of course, us grunts are the only ones that have our gear. We have our gear on once we get to Kuwait. We have our rifles, everything. We're ready to go. I mean, but the rest of the guys we went over with were pogues. So, they're just in their uniforms. But when we get over to Kuwait, they block the windows so you can't see shit. And immediately we're sweating our balls off because we're all in this fucking gear. We're all geared up. So I guess if we get hit, it's on us grunts to go out there and save the pogues. So, I do remember that. And then we do get to Kuwait, we get to the tents, and sure as shit, they do ask us for volunteers to go to Haditha or some weird ass fucking place. And I was tempted, and I was like, shit, let's go check this out. Maybe we'll end up. But I remember Gunny Hoffman saying, don't volunteer for shit. And because the CO, Major Miller's already there, he's already waiting for us. And so, yeah. So, we didn't volunteer for shit. And so we go to the airfield, the Air Force Base in Kuwait, start loading up onto the C-130 to fly into Al-Asad, Iraq. Flight was normal. It's a C-130. It sucks. You just sit there and you wait. You're on those little stupid cargo netted seatings, and we're all in there. We're all in our gear, of course. And the pogues aren't, but, us grunts are. Squad and section leaders are in their gear. You go to Al-Asad, and of course you have to do the stupid circling in, and so that takes a while to land because you're worried about anti-aircraft shit shooting us down. But as soon as we land, alarms start going off in the C-130. I mean, sirens are just going off, and I'm like, fuck, am I cursed? I've heard this before. So we land, and immediately they say the brakes are on fire. I don't know what that means. I don't know how deadly that is to a plane. Apparently, it's pretty bad. So I remember looking at. So we're at the end. The grunts are all at the end. So everyone's bailing out on this side of the cargo netting, and they're going down the ramp, and but Atterbury's right here. who's the mortar section leader, and he's right here, but he's trying to get out, but his fucking canteen is stuck in the cargo netting seat, and he can't move, and he's trying to get across, and I'm like trying to fucking get him out. I'm like, let's go, fucking devil, let's go. And sirens going off, and I think smoke's starting to rise, and then these pogues behind us are pushing on me, and they're all staff sergeants and above, and they're pushing on me like, hurry the fuck up. I'm like, fuck you, motherfuckers! I'm trying to get him out. Fuck you! And I'm screaming that at a bunch of staff sergeants, officers, and all this shit, and they're like, hurry up, move! And I'm like, fuck you! And so I finally get Atterbury's canteen thing unhooked, and me and him go flying out. We go meet up with everybody else, and I just remember a couple of them getting off a couple of those pogue officers or staff NCOs getting together, like, who is that sergeant? It was talking, disrespect. And they didn't find out it was me. So, I mean, but Major Miller came and picked us up, and that was it. I mean, that was arriving in country, Alisod. That was what I remember, is the brakes catching on fire on our C-130. So we do the right seat, left seat. So I'll talk about two patrols. My first patrol with the right seat, left seat, that was actually outside the wire and actually clearing a village. And then I'll talk about my first real patrol with my squad. So the first patrol with the 2-7 was with the Corporal Knappenberger, and me and Atterbury, we always made sure we were together when we did right seat, left seat, and then we were always with Knappenberger, this corporal. And even though we outranked him, it was great. I mean, the kid was, he was funny, and man, you want to talk about laid back, and we didn't know what to expect. So me and Atterbury were all bundled up in our gear, Kevlar, and everything like that. These guys are just laying around, ripping their shit open, which eventually we would do too towards the end of our tour. But at the time, yeah, I'd be like, fuck that, I'm never taking my shit off. I'm going to get shot just sitting there laying with my shit out, fucking exposed. But they were doing it, so we go clear this village. And me and Atterbury are excited. Oh my God, we're seeing all these Hajis getting rousted about. They're kicking in doors and recording off areas. And, me and Atterbury smiles, you're like fucking new guys. And so we get done with this clearing this village, and we're sitting against these buildings, and again they start ripping their shit off, taking their Kevlars off, and me and Atterbury just still bundled up and keeping our shit on. I'm like, well, fuck, I gotta go take a piss, and like Atterbury, I'm gonna go take a piss over these palm trees, cover my six, and he's, I got you, Parks, and so I start taking a piss on this palm tree. Well, back that up. I'm sorry. About an hour before, this is the first time me and Atterbury heard enemy fire. So we were on patrol with the squad in Knappenberger, and so a couple pop shots from across the Euphrates. It's the first time me and Atterbury heard an AK-47, and there it was. And so we looked at the corporal, and he's, they're not accurate. It's way off. Don't worry about it. And then they take off all their shit. And so I'm like, fine, I gotta go take a piss. And so I keep my shit on, my gear on, and Atterbury goes, I got you. I'm like, Atterbury, you got my six? He goes, yeah, I got your six. So I'm taking a piss, and my head's on the swivel, but I'm only watching this way. I'm not paying attention around behind me. Atterbury's got my six. So I'm taking a piss, and then all of a sudden I hear another stream of piss. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Who? I turn, it's Atterbury pissing right next to me. I'm like, Atterbury, who the fuck has our six? And he's like, don't worry about it, devil, we're okay. So that was my first patrol. And then, so my first actual patrol with my squad was, we got a patrol order, we're at Alisod, and our AO is this huge fucking area, and we got Dulab where they dump all this 155 shells where the Hajis get their shit for IEDs. So, it's a huge, massive area. It's huge, massive AOs. So the patrol route, everyone's going out and doing this patrol route, and we get the patrol orders from our platoon commanders. My platoon commander, the dumbass that he fucking is, artillery Poe, forgot to give me the time duration of the patrol. That's essential fucking information. So everyone's out doing different patrol, and then it's my squad's turn to go do the patrol, and everyone's doing the same fucking patrol route. And we're all expected to do the same fucking patrol route. I have the patroller. The squad before me went out and did the same thing. It's the same route. One big goddamn fucking circle. And I'm thinking in my head, yeah, that's yeah. And they told us don't do the same fucking route. All the veterans that came back and trained us told us don't do the same fucking route. Don't go the same fucking route. They'll pick up on it. And that's what I'm thinking in my head. So we get outside friendly lines, and I do one circle. I think I do one circle of that fucking route, and then I start just bouncing all over the AO. It's 4 Hummers, we're just going all over as fast as a Hummer can go. Those Hummers back then, loaded with sandbags on the floorboard to protect us from IEDs, metal this thin. It's just everyone exposed in the back. So it wasn't high speed. I'm bouncing all over the place. I disconnected Blue Force tracker, at least I think I did, trying to keep the headquarters or the COC from tracking us. They'd call in, where are you at? And I'd say we're at this checkpoint, and we're not. Or fucking way the fuck over here. We're at Dulab's gate, doing whatever. So I do a couple weird ass fucking. Delta had his GPS working, so we had the coordinates all the time. So if shit hit the fan, I would have been able to call it in, no problem. So we go back to friendly lines and trying to re-enter, and they're saying denied. And I'm like, denied? Deny me fucking entering the friendly lines. I did the patrol, several more. I even went outside the box. I mean, what the fuck? And so, Sergeant Park, you need to go back out on patrol. I'm like, fine, roger fucking that. So we turn the Humvees around at the gate and we head back out. Again, I'm bouncing all over the place. And I remember one time they saying, be on the lookout for a black BMW. And I remember seeing a black BMW, and I'm in the lead vehicle, and I remember seeing a black BMW race right across in front of us. And I'm like, fucking chase it. We're not going to catch it. Floored, the Humvee goes maybe 45 miles an hour with all the extra weight and shit and sandbags. So we chased after a black BMW for a bit, pissed off some locals going through some local shit. So I do that for a little bit, and I come back to friendly lines. I request re-entry at friendly lines. I'm waiting there at the gate. The MPs are sitting there at the Al-Assad because they're not grunts. I mean, they're actual military police, Marines or whatever. And they're like, denied. I'm like, fucking denied. I'm like, I'm not. What the fuck? And yet, Sergeant Parkinson, you need to go back out for fucking 8 hours, or it was a 10 hour. It was a 10-hour patrol or 10-hour patrol. No one ever told me that. I didn't know I was supposed to be out for it. So it looked like I was trying to get back into friendly lines. I was like, all right, fine. Fuck it. We have another 6 hours. So it's like, shit, let's do it. So I talked to the gate guards. I'm like, hey, man, let us into the Al-Assad real quick. We're going to go to the PX. We're going to get up on a bunch of fucking candy, Gatorade, soda, whatever the fuck we want. And then we're going to head back out. And the gate guard is like, oh, I don't know. They just denied you entry. I'm like, come on. I'm going to bring you back some shit. The squad, James thinks I forced him. How am I going to force him? I can't force him. So I bribed him. And that's what we did. Man, I went in, loaded up, went back out, and patrolled for 6 hours, wherever the fuck I wanted, and let the enemy know that the fucking Bravo company was in the AO. And we're not just going to follow some fucking loop 10 fucking times so you can catch me on the 9th. Nope. So that's what we did. And then Atterbury took it to the extreme the next patrol, which I was in the COC for. But if he ever tells his story or records his story one day, you'll have to hear his side of it. Him and the Mortarmen went into heat when they weren't supposed to and stirred the hornet's nest. And that put Bravo on the map. So that was my first real patrol with my squad. Phantom Fury. So Phantom Fury is long and drawn up. That was the Fallujah offensive in November of 2004. Bravo Company. Well, let me go back. My first firefight. So I won't go to Phantom Fury. My first firefight, real firefight, was Heat, and that was because Atterbury started that. And so here's what happened in Heat. I guess there was a corrupt police force down there, but 2-7 had an arrangement with the Mujahideen or whoever the fuck was in Heat that don't come in here, Marines don't come in here, and we won't go outside and fuck around in your AO. That was their agreement. And I remember Todd, me and Atterbury were right seat, left seat with Knappenberger, and I remember him telling us that. You don't go into heat. You just don't do it. We have an agreement with them. You don't go in there, and you damn sure don't go in there with just a squad. There's no fucking way. And you don't want to go in there with just a platoon either. So I remember that, and Atterbury remembers that, but he got lost on his patrol fucking around. He wasn't fucking around. He was doing what I was doing and, thinking outside the box. Why would he risk his men to get blown up on a loop again? Why risk your men that way? So that's what he did. He did his thing, and he was a good squad leader by doing that. Because at the time we were using the weapons bubbas as normal 11s to do patrols and shit. So he took them in, and he went right through the middle of fucking heat. They weren't prepared for it, the Mujahideen or whoever the hell's in there. They just weren't prepared for some ballsy fucking Marine to come through. And the Mortarmen will tell you about it if they ever get to record their stuff. They can tell you about the experience going through there. I'll let Todd tell it to you. Atterbury, he'll tell you. But from what he told me, it was hilarious. So, anyway, he comes out from his patrol out of there, and the next convoy to go through happened to be a general's convoy with a bunch of private contractors. And they got lit the fuck up. And I was in the COC hearing all that radio traffic, and I'm like, oh shit. So they got lit up. I don't know if any private contractors died or not. I want to say some did, but I don't quote me on that. Who knows? But I know there's a general in there, and he was fucking pissed. So what that did was the only grunt unit that was around, because everyone was in fucking Fallujah and Ramadi, all the active duty bubbas, the 2.7s and not 2.7 but 3.5, 3.1, they were all down in Fallujah getting ready for all that shit, and that shit was a fucking wild wild west right during when we were there. So yeah, we're the only grunt unit around, so cue up Bravo. And first platoon, he was the target. They were in Bravo Company's task was to clear out that town and get rid of the insurgents and get rid of the corrupt police force. So that's what Major Miller was tasked with. So happens that second platoon was up in rotation for the mission, but command did not trust our platoon commander, which was rightfully so, because if he had, half of us would have been buried in heat and we would have died. But he sent in wisely first platoon with their platoon commander, who was an actual officer, infantry officer, and came from. He was a close air support officer from the active duty Marine side. And first platoon was always, the high speed platoon. They're always getting into shit before everyone else. They got all the cool missions because they had a locked on platoon commander and locked on squad leaders and a locked on platoon. The rest of us did too, but we just didn't. The experience counts. So they got the mission over us. I remember my platoon commander was pissed off. Threw a hissy fit in his little hooch in the can in Al Assad. Broke his electric razor in front of us squad leaders. And in my head, I'm thinking, fucking thank God we're not going in. Because this dude would bury us. And I don't know how to call in close air support that great. Not like what's going to be needed here in a few moments. So first platoon rolls off. Second platoon is us as geared up as a react. First platoon goes in, 0 dark 30. They're there for, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 hours, clearing out this corrupt place. If a first platoon Bubba gets on here and records his story, I'm sure he can walk you through it a hell of a lot better than I am. I'm just going to go over the overview. Right about dawn, they get surrounded and shit pops off. They get surrounded by, 300-400. I can't. I'm sure there's a whole story in Leatherneck magazine about first platoon and the Battle of Heat. So they get hit. They're battling it out, just fucking returning fire. Their platoon commanders dropping. These air bubbas and air wingers came from all over Iraq to take part in this little battle because they were so hungry for action. They were stacked, packed, and racked, and they were just. First platoon commander just dropped them on a dime. It was beautiful, but I'll get into that. So second platoon is react. We called in, so we're rolling. Second platoon rolls. So we're heading straight to heat. It's going to take us about an hour to get there, 45 minutes or something like that. So we're in the back of the 7 tons, just facing outboard, getting ready. They're saying, first platoon's in the shit, but I don't think any of us really realized how much of the shit they were in, because first platoon has been getting in little skirmishes here and there already, and we'd heard some stuff, but I don't think it really dawned on us what was going on, or So we're driving down there, and I'm in the back of the 7. I'm on the very end of the 7-ton, so I can be out first to, guide the troops when we get into the shit. And I remember McDonald coming over my little PSR and my earpiece, and he goes, "Hey, Sergeant Parks, you need to make the guys look more aggressive." I mean, we're all facing outboard with our rifles. I mean, aimed outboard. I mean, how more aggressive do we? We're fucking Marines. That's aggressive enough. It's like he goes, the CO wants them to be more aggressive. Okay, roger that. I turned to my squad in the back of the 7-ton. All right, men, put on your war face. Put on your war face. I don't know what it means, but put on your fucking war face. So, I mean, they hunched down a little bit further behind the rifles, so that's it. And then, so you hear the battle raging in the background, and I'm thinking we're going to envelop, or we're going to come around some way. First platoon and the CO, the platoon commander and the CO are working things out. We're going to envelop like normal Marine Corps tactics. But fuck no. Straight down the middle of the avenue of approach, straight down in the middle of the fucking first platoon's hell. Right down the middle. Yeah. That was the rounds, just everywhere, just flying everywhere. And as soon as we get in there, I mean, the rounds are pinking off the side of the 7-ton. Tick, 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 tick. Boom, we're out. I just remember the A driver, and motor T-Bubbas, they're underappreciated, but that motor T-Bubba, he's not even infantry, but he's trained on that fucking machine gun. Gets on that 50 cal and just he is just firing at any and everything, and that thing is a beautiful sound to hear when you're a fucking 11. So we're jumping off, and it's just chaos. I'm in the fog of war. Like I said, this is my first real firefight, and I just remember it's just pure chaos, and we're running in this middle of the street. Rounds are just flying off it's just everywhere, and that 50 cal. So I just remember this Haji truck this orange and white Haji truck comes running down, coming straight at us from this road. I'm like, Delta, get that motherfucker. And Delta's team, Jackson, Delta, and Doherty. Now, Perry wasn't with us at the time. He was still doing HVT escorts to prisons all over the country. And I'll get into that too. But I wish he was there. But they went and did their thing, and they stopped up. I thought they were going to... My orders was, when I meant stop that motherfucker, it was meant shred them, open fire, just destroy them. But luckily Delta kept a cool head, and they halted, and they reversed in the quick time and got the fuck out of there. So, but yeah, that was my orders, was that meant to fucking smoke them all. He just kept a level head. And then, so Mendoza from 1st Platoon... Thank God he was on the ground right there too, because I was disorientated because the rounds were coming from everywhere. I didn't know where the enemy was. And so Mendoza's like, "Sergeant Parks, that fucking way." And I'm like, "Thank you." So I could orientate my squad. So I just remember running towards the palm groves where the firing was coming from the enemy. And I remember seeing Delvecchio and Cooper next to this piece of shit building, and they're on this little debris hump, or it's some trash or whatever they're hiding behind, and I think they're firing away. And I was like, I come running over there, and they're like, "Sergeant Parks, what do we fire at?" And we only see is shadows. I'm like, shoot the fucking shadows, fire at the fucking shadows. So they just open up into the palm groves and doing the thing. So I'm trying to coordinate, and I switch over my earpiece to another channel, and I catch up with Haynes from 1st Platoon, Sergeant Haynes. He's the first squad leader from 1st Platoon. So, first squad leader from 2nd Platoon. So, of course, I'm going to link up with him. He knew exactly where the enemy was. He knew exactly what the movement was. He knew the lay of the terrain. He knew everything that needed to be known. All I had to do was listen to him. So he gets on, he goes, "Sergeant Parks, I need you to envelop. We're going to lay this base of fire." He already had it planned. He just needed another counterpart, and that was my squad. So it's, roger that, Sergeant Haynes. I'm all over it. So my squad, I'm picking them up. We're getting ready to just assault through the motherfucking palm groves and just engage the enemy. And as soon as I got my squad following me, we're getting ready to get into position for Sergeant Haynes. I get someone's yelling at me from the fucking buildings in the town, and "Sergeant Parks, Sergeant Parks, Sergeant Parks, Sergeant Parks." I'm like, And I turned back, I'm like, what? And they're like, Gunny fucking Simmons, you know, that's our platoon commander, you know. They fucking dickless wants you fucking back there and where the rest of the platoon is, you know, because I guess they got assigned to the rear to go clear the schoolhouse and clear the six of the, you know, well, it wasn't the company, it was just first and second platoon at the time with the headquarters element with Major Miller and Gunny Hoffman and a few of the headquarters above us. Third platoon was still back at Al Assad as React 2, and weapons was getting ready to deploy from Dulab, getting picked up in the 46s. So, so I was ready to envelop, and they're telling me I need to get back, you know, think I'm going rogue. I don't know what rogue means, but they think I'm going off script or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm fucking about to envelop, no. Like, no, we need you back here, I'm like, ah! So I get on with Haynes, I'm like, Haynes, I'm getting called back to the sick, or rear. I mean, just hold it down and you're on your own, brother. He goes, roger that, and so I take the squad and we go back, and I'm running full bore. The squad's right behind me. We come up to the schoolhouse that we're supposed to clear. My platoon commander, McDonald, and Staff Sergeant Ruiz are all like crouched down in the corner. My platoon commander's hiding behind both of them, I guess using them as bullet stops. But they were all on their knees in this little corner, and he was right behind them, and I was in the farthest corner. Yeah, man. So I come running up, and I just like looking down at them, and like, what the fuck is going on, Gunny? And he's just like, we gotta clear the schoolhouse. And I'm like, what's wrong with these fucking doors? And he's like, starting to talk, well, I tried them. The squad, they're all going around back. And I'm like, look at my squad, and shit's still chaos. Boom! Just kicked the fucking door in. Hey, maybe Stockwell loosened it for me, but I just kicked that fucking door in. Both the double steel doors just whoosh. Everything goes, and I just yell at my squad, get the fuck in there. And they were machines. Cleared the whole fucking schoolhouse. And, you know, should have taken a platoon. You know, there's no one in there, so whatever. So we get done clearing the schoolhouse. Everyone's in there. We're staging there. I get orders from my platoon commander to go take my squad to go across to this other block of houses or whatever. I got to go clear them and establish a foothold for the platoon and secure the rooftops. So sure shit, you know, first platoon is still laying it down out there, and the first platoon commander at the time is Captain Guinea, and he is just calling in air, and those bubbas are dropping everything, and they're laughing their asses off doing it, filming it with their little cameras on their planes, and we, like I said, footage is in a lot of these videos that we have. So my squad's leaving. We leave schoolhouse. There's a mosque in the way. Fuck, we're not going around. I don't give a fuck what the rule is. So we jump through the mosque. We go through the mosque. We come out the other side of the mosque. Clear all the buildings on the other side. Establish a foothold on the rooftop. Spread out the squad down below. And me, James, and Culpepper go to the rooftop. We're taking sporadic fire. And that's when we started joking around. They must be Haji snipers because they're not hitting shit. Because if these had been Chechenian snipers, you know, we'd all be dead, you know, some shit like that. But, you know, we're taking pot shots here and there. James engages some fuckers in the Palm Grove. I engaged two fuckers on a rooftop. They were way out there, so I don't know if they were just trying to watch or what. But, you know, one fell off, and then the other one climbed down. I think they jumped off. I don't think I hit shit from that distance anyways. But it scared the piss out of them. And then Culpepper's on the radio listening to all the traffic. He's getting shot at because his stupid radio antenna sticking out from by. He's thinking they're shooting at me and James, but they're not. They're shooting at him because he has the target indicator, the radio antenna sticking out of his pack. So, Culpepper, they were shooting at you, brother. So I remember our platoon commander comes running up to the rooftop, and he goes, I told you not to go through the mosque. From now on, no mosques. Yeah, roger that. You know, I'm listening to that shit. No. I'm not going to run around a fucking mosque when we're taking fire just to appease the locals. That's just not going to happen. So that was the firefight. So we're on the rooftops. Captain McGinney's from 1st Platoon still dropping that air support. You know, 1st Platoon's out there on the edge. They're, you know, firing away. We're taking still sporadic fire, but it's calming down by now. It's just a few hours. You see the 46s land with recon and weapons, and I think 3rd Platoon eventually with them as well. So they got the land with helos. That was cool for those Marines. I've never been on a 46 or anything like that to actually do a combat insertion. So, you know, a little check in the box for you. I have not done a combat insertion from a helo, so there we go. So you guys did. Way to go, weapons and 3rd platoon. But you guys brought in recon, those little fuckers. They turned down the mission in the first place because the intelligence was too old. And, they just jump on our coattails and sit there firing away with the little baseball caps and just looking cool and not hitting shit. Just, So, but, yeah, so that was it. It started calming down. We stayed in heat for 7 fucking days, securing that fucking village. So that's the Battle of Heat in a nutshell. Yeah. And so from there, Bravo Company was put on the map. Everyone knew about us, and so we have a reputation. And then soon we became the bastards of Ambar. We get shipped to. From there, we're sitting back at Al Assad. After that, we're winding down. I think we're there for like another 2-3 days. The Fallujah offensive is starting to get planned. Excuse me, and we get we start getting word, something big's happening and Bravo's going to be involved. And like, okay, how involved can we really be? But we were all walking on cloud 9 because of the Battle of Heat. When we came back to Al Assad from Heat after 7 days, it's like the whole base just looked at us like we were the Walking Dead. I mean, they just like steered clear of us. And it was, I'm sure all the fucking war vets out there know that feeling. So, yeah, we didn't think anything of it. Just, rumors. And then we got the order, we're heading down to Habbaniyah. We're going to get ready to do this offensive in Fallujah. And Bravo's a part of it. And you can't tell shit. Can't tell no one. And first thing our platoon commander does is go tell his wife. And our families know about it before we know that, before we even to Habbaniyah, our families knew that we're going into Fallujah. So that's our platoon commander for you. He's, loose lips sink ships. And he was blabbing all about it. It's just, our whole command hated him. Our platoon commander, our whole company hated that motherfucker. So there's no love lost there, and I'll get into more why the command didn't like him later on. But so we're heading down there. We get to Habbaniyah. It's outside of Fallujah. We're running VCPs there for a few days before the Fallujah offensive happens. So we're getting up and gearing up for it's called Operation Phantom Fury. That's going to be the Fallujah offensive. So they're doing dropping leaflets all around Fallujah in the area saying, it's in Arabic, but it's saying, there's no, 27 virgins, 47 virgins waiting for you because the Marines are already up there fucking them all. Shit like that, talking shit. So if you want to come fight the Marines, come meet us this day, this time in Fallujah. It's basically like backyard, meet me at 3:15 on the school ground. I'm going to fuck you up. And it's what basically the leaflets were saying. So but before the offensive could kick off, we have to do VCPs to let all the innocents out of the town, and so that had its own fun. So the first 3 or 4 days we're doing VCPs, it was 3 or 4 days letting them out of the town before the offensive kicked off. And so 0 Dark 30, the offensive kicks off. Second platoon is attached to. And we get the rules of engagement speech by the Judge Advocate General. So they sent a lawyer. A Marine lawyer to give us our rules of engagement speech, he was awesome. He just said, all right, you see a man with a weapon, you smoke check him. You see a woman with a weapon, you smoke check him. You see a child with a weapon, you smoke check him. You see a goat with a weapon, you smoke check him. That was our rules of engagement. Anyone with a fucking weapon was free game. If they're out past 7, you smoke check them. So that was our rules of engagement. And then we were all, all of us like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then they started dropping off the body bags right after that speech. So that took the wind out of our sails real fucking quick. So then second platoon got attached to some army unit. It sucked. So we're rolling in while the rest of the company was doing their own thing. Second platoon got attached to the army unit because our command hated our platoon commander. So we got shit assignments and we got attached to the army unit. So we go in. So we're going in with the army unit. The army psyops is playing, let the bodies hit the floor, let the bodies hit the floor. So we're rolling towards Fallujah, and then as soon as the rounds start coming down range, it's just, they turn it off and turn tail and run. I'm in the Hummer behind with, half my squad. The squads are just, stacked in Hummers. We're all just in Humvees. So we get to the first little village. We're supposed to clear right on the Euphrates. Fallujah's right here. We're on the Fallujah Peninsula right here. We're the Feint, Bravo Company, and is the Feint. So were trying to draw their fire this way. So while 3-5 and 3-1 can come in and just fuck them up inside the city. So Bravo Company was a distraction, the feint, and so took some sporadic fire, cleared some buildings. James and B Game and all them said some army unit tried to go across the bridge, but then it got blown up, and then they went into the Euphrates. I don't remember that, but I'm sure I was there. Obviously, I was there. But those army bubbas died on them, going under. I guess B Game was going to go. His squad was going to go try to, drop their gear and go save them. But by then their gear would have taken them down. It had been over, and then we would have lost probably B Game and all them. So there was no point in that. But yeah, we just cleared all those villages. We set, Bravo Company took over a few mansions. It was pretty cool. A few mansions in the compound. And we patrolled out of those. Second platoon was stuck in that little shitty warehouse while the rest of the company got these compounds and these mansions to stay in. Second platoon got stuck with mortars in this shitty grain elevator. So I guess we were security for mortars. But then we would run patrols out of there, long patrols. I won't get into the patrols with my squad. I mean, me falling in the shit canal, that happened to a lot of Marines. I mean, but James Culpepper pulled me out of the shit canal on one patrol with Het, which is, we were kicking in doors and trying to take prisoners for the interrogation team. Let me see. Yeah, normal shit like that, night patrols, kicking in doors. So one platoon patrol, first squad's on point. We're just going down the road, patrolling the peninsula, Fallujah Peninsula. So, once all the shitheads come this way from 3-5 kicking their ass and 3-1 kicking their ass, we'll engage them. I just remember on that patrol, I just look over and it was it really, really was slow motion. I mean, you just see the tracers coming and I immediately knew it was friendly fire. It's just slow motion. And then you just hear the sounds of the M16s firing at you. You just know the sound. And then you hear the 20 mic from the LAV opening up on you. And that's just an eye-opener. And you just hear buildings getting torn apart all around you. And you just see the shit just spraying around you. And all I could do, and this harkens back to when I was with that Pogue unit in reserve, teaching them, open fire. And that's what we did. I gave the order, open fucking fire. And I opened fire. Everyone's just opening fire. The rest of the platoon follows suit. We're just all opening fire. It was just a onslaught of just everyone slapping mags, just dropping mags, slapping in new ones, dropping mags. You just on Captain McGinney, or he's now Colonel McGinney, has it on film. He filmed it from a rooftop about 800 meters away. So if you ever get a chance to talk to him, maybe he can dredge it up. But he has it on film. I saw it when we were in Aruba training the Dutch Marines in 07. Or was it 06 we were there? Yeah, I don't know how any, so we were just exchanging fire with an LAV unit with a 20 mic cannon, and they lit us up because they thought we were Hajis in the tactical column on the middle of an open fucking road with packs on. I don't fucking think so. So they're Pogues, man. Fucking Pogues. So we exchanged fire for a bit. My Red Star cluster that's the universal sign for friendly fire. So it was in Culpepper's pack because he had the radio and I just threw my shit in there. I don't know. Fucking Culpepper probably didn't realize, so I dug it out of his pack. He was on the ground in the prone, firing away. So I dug it out of his pack and popped the Red Star. Firing ceases for a second. Then they open up again. They just open up with a second wave. Those stupid motherfuckers. So we open back up and just another round of firing away. And I'm seeing the prone the whole time. I'm not in the prone. I'm in the standing the whole time in the offhand. I'm just firing away in the offhand. Just rounds just coming right, just right next to my head. I can't hear. I'm just standing there, just firing away, dropping a mag, slapping another one, just firing away. And then that one gets jammed. And so first time it ever happened. And so I'm doing a tap rack bang, and then Culpepper takes that moment and just pops me right in the knee. And he's like, "Sergeant Parks, get the fuck down." And just pops me in the knee. I drop, buckle down, but still slapping my mag, getting another one going, start going again. And I was like, "Pop the Red Star, pop!" Because I don't have any more. So it was, finally talked to B Game because I didn't know who it was Stock War B Game who popped the second red star to get him to stop finally. But it turns out it was Stockwell who popped the second red star. So he got him to stop on that one. So we regroup, and then I just remember the debrief later. Sergeant McDonald comes up to me and he says, "Sergeant Parks, man, you guys performed beautifully up front. The only thing was you guys were supposed to assault through." And I'm thinking, like, because I'd been on patrols with the guys, days prior, and we knew the area. And there's this huge shit canal right there. You're not assaulting through nothing. You're gonna drown. And there's only one avenue, and it's across this bridge. Why would you go across this little bridge when you're getting ambushed? So I'm like, no. I was like, negative, no. We were in the kill zone. We were getting fired upon. It's the rest of y'all's job to envelop and fucking. We are the support by fire. We're the suppressive fire, and that's what we did. We were in the kill zone. We're just gonna. I understand you're supposed to assault through, but I knew the lay of the land. So we'll just lay suppressive fire. You guys had plenty of fucking people to envelop. So that was our debrief, and so it took them a couple days to apologize to us for, and then finally admitting to lighting us up, the LAV unit, 3rd LAR. Fucking trigger happy fuckers. So that was our little there. That was a little friendly fire incident. It's intense. To this day, don't know how anyone didn't die. I really don't. But the villagers did, unfortunately, because they were caught in the crossfire. I can't really feel bad. I don't. We're not dead. I don't know. It's just, whatever. So that happened. I know B Game, his squad had to go back and do a damage assessment, and they went to saw the bodies, I guess, apparently. I was told about it later, so whatever. I was on doing my own patrols and everything. So then I think it was 2 days later. We're doing a platoon patrol. Our platoon's charged with doing an IED sweep. So we're starting at it's early in the morning. It's not like 0 dark 30 or anything. We're kicking off, but we're just sitting there staging. Second platoon's in charge. We're doing a Route Michigan IED sweep, so we're just supposed to be looking for IEDs. And we're not EOD, but I don't know. We're supposed to find these IEDs. I don't know how we're supposed to. They didn't give us any fucking tools, so we don't have any sweepers. I don't know what the hell we're supposed to do, but we're doing an IED sweep. We're following behind 2 Abrams on foot. Our platoon commander's in the Humvee as usual. He never left the Humvee. He's every firefight he just stayed in the Humvee. He didn't do shit. So we're staging and we're getting ready to take off, and I remember hearing it. By then, Bravo companies used to get mortared, so we'd heard mortars before, and so I'm like, hey, guy, incoming. And he goes, yeah. And he says, roger that. And so, we can't really run. They're coming, but if you run, you might be running towards it. So we wait a second, and they're way off. The mortars land, and that kind of was the official kickoff of that patrol or that mission. Was we got mortared right away, but that was the end of it. So we kick it off. I don't know how long it was. I don't think we were going very far before it happened. Now there was 2 Abrams in front of us. Or was it 1? Maybe it's 1. Whatever. There was 1 Abrams in front of us. We're falling behind on foot. 3rd squad, B Game. By this time, B Game became squad leader. Thank God. B Game's in 3rd squad. He's on right flank, checking that side. I'm on the left flank with my squad. Stockwell squad is react. They're in the 7 tons, ready to hop off if anything happens. And sure shit, first squad was on the left flank. We all watched it happen, and it was like slow motion. Haji pops up on the side of a building with an RPG, launches it straight at the turret of the Abrams, does nothing to the Abrams but piss it off and the tank crew inside, and they slowly start turning their turret towards the target. And, fuck. I don't know if he had the blessing of Allah or what, but he had the balls to sit there and reload his RPG and try to fire another one. By then, the shock wore off from us, and we start to engage. So, all hell's starting to break loose now. Now the firing's starting, and we're getting machine gun fire and all sorts of fire, and my guys are engaging. James is trying to get his saw up, but he has it pointed at the fucking ground. So he's literally walking his rounds onto the target, and he gets his rounds right to the guy that's putting RPG. He's on the side of the wall. He's putting the RPG on. He's getting ready to fire again. Culpepper's firing at him, and James is getting his saw on target, and the rounds, I'm saying the rounds get there, but as soon as the rounds get to where the target was, the Abrams had fired its round, and that Haji became a dusty mist, a sandy mist. He just disappeared. It was just, and you hear the stories, you really do, until you see it. I mean, it was mist. There's no head flying off anywhere. There's no body parts flying off anywhere. It just was dusty mist. It was just, and so we start firing. And so I tell Gunny we're taking fire, and I get on the PSR, and I'm like, hey, we got a fucking Gunny. We're taking fire. We need a fire maneuver. And so I'm expecting some tactical plan from my platoon commander to give me his squad leaders so I can engage the enemy properly. All I get back from him on the radio is, yeah, do that. Do that. No coordination with the other squads. Just do that. Yeah, do that. Okay, roger that. First squad's on its own. So what we do, we fire and maneuver. So second squad went to react to help B-Game on his side of the road. I don't know what happened over there. They took fire too. Obviously, I don't know the extent. I really don't know why, but they sent the second squad over that way. So first squad was still on its own on the left flank, running a gun in. So we start acquiring targets. The squad says I do some mad dash across the dangerous area, taking fire, zigzagging, saying, I have a grenade. No, it's not like that. That's not how I remember it, but whatever. You can believe them or I don't know. But all I know is I lost track of Delta's team because he was going around the shit canal in the reeds, and I couldn't see him. And we're firing at these buildings, and we're taking fire, but we wanted to fire this way, and I didn't want him to get caught in friendly fire. So I'm screaming at him on the PSR. He's not getting through back to me because the PSRs suck, and they have shitty reception. So he's not getting back to me. I don't know where the fuck he's at. Then all of a sudden, see him pop around. Him and his team, Perry, Jackson, Doherty, are all with him. And they all come lining up onto the side of the wall. That's when I pull the grenade. I just do a finger like this, like wait one. And boop. Throw it over the wall. Boom. Immediately Delta's team goes in, clears. No one's in there. There's no firing, so no one's in there. They bugged out. I think that's where we found some weapons. Because they maybe found a tac vest. They dropped their weapons and their gear and blend back in with the fucking populace and the Hajis. So that's what we found right there. So they were bugging out further down the block. Perry says he took some shrapnel through the adobe wall from the grenade. So if he did, I would gladly write him up a statement saying, yeah, I threw that fucking grenade. And if he needs his Purple Heart, he needs his Purple Heart. So let's get him that Purple Heart. So we kept running gunning, and Perry sucked it up. So we kept running a gunning. We're clearing the village. It's just the 11 of us clearing this whole fucking block of buildings. We're taking fire from a rooftop of a couple houses. Perry takes a few. We're taking fires, and Delta's team engages. Perry puts hits a target on the roof. That's what he's telling me. Anyway, so we're going towards the building. So the rest of the Morales' team is with DeVecchio, Thomas, and Cooper, and they're taking fire and securing down this way. Delta's team, Jackson, Doherty, and Perry are over here taking fire, and they're securing the 12 o'clock. Morales is taking 6. So me, James, and Culpepper are going straight to this building where Perry and them are taking fire from the rooftop. We're going to clear it. I get to the side of the building. I hear arguing inside, a bunch of our men arguing and stuff like that, so I'm not taking chances. But I'm out of fucking grenades, because I don't know why I only have fucking one. But I'm out of grenades, and all I have is a flashbang. So James busts open the pane on the window. I throw in a flashbang. Boom. Me, Culpepper, and James go in and clear the building. There's a bunch of people in this room. We start dragging people into this living room. James and Culpepper throwing everybody in the living room, securing them. The flashbang fucked up this one dude. He made him look like a zombie. He just started, you know, blood coming from his nose and his ears and shit. So he was just walking like a zombie. Culpepper slammed his ass to the ground. Flex cuffed his fucking dumbass. So we go. I go around to clear the rest of the house while James and Culpepper securing everybody in the living room. I'm clearing the rest of the house. Listen, you young Marines, this whole squad or whole platoon to clear a building goes right out the fucking window when you're in combat. You don't have the manpower. You just don't have it. You're not going to have it. You're never going to be TO. So, yeah, it's a buddy system clearing of buildings. I mean, you'll clear a building with just one or two or three people. Yeah, that's the way it's going to be. So get all this traditional, it takes a squad to clear a little fucking 2-room place. No, it's not going to happen. It'll take 2 of you. So I go running up to the rooftop. I see the shell casings on the rooftop. I see a blood trail coming down the stairs. I don't know what happened up there. So we're still, fire's still going on, still raging outside. So I get down to the thing. There's a woman holding I don't know, he's probably a teenager, just cradling him in her arms, just crying, sobbing, rocking back and forth. He's not moving. I don't know what's going on, so I don't give a fuck either. So we leave them all in there, flex scuffed or whatever. I don't care if they get free or not. So we're continuing to clear. Now we bust out the side, and me and Culpepper engaged 2 people running down the road, 2 men running down the road in all black. Obviously, they dropped their weapons and bolted, but we were engaging them. We didn't hit them. I don't think we did. And then our platoon commander's coming over the radio telling me what the fuck's going on. And I'm like, I'm fucking engaging the enemy. What do you want me to do? And he goes, well, you need to hurry up. I need to hurry up. Sure. Let me get right on that. Gunny. I'll gladly call the enemy. Give me their comm link. I'll call them right now and just get on the radio and say, hey guys, can we hurry this up? Can we speed this along? My platoon commander is getting a little impatient. He wants to keep going. You need to hurry up. So, yeah, we let them all go. We get back to clearing, so we're online again. I don't know if third or second have switched places or not on the right flank. I don't know who's in the 7-ton. It's not us. So first squad keeps going. So we're still taking fire, and all of a sudden there's a Cobra above us, and it gets hit with a surface-to-air missile right in front of us. And it goes down, lands in front of first squad. There's blood in the cockpit window. The gunner's hit. I thought he died, but apparently I think he lived. So that's great. That's great news. I eventually found out I think he lived. But I thought he died at the time because there's blood all over the cockpit. The pilot landed it. It landed the bird right in front of us. So first squad secured it for a little bit until we got relieved by the 3rd LAR above us that took over securing the Cobra. So we keep pushing forward. This is when we start finding the IEDs and all the weapons and shit. So we come across these buildings. We find a RPK, machine gun, enemy machine gun. We find a bag full of cell phones. I think we found some toe poppers. We found some. Then we found tac vests. Another one. That's when we found the SA-7 Grail launcher. That was the surface-to-air missile launcher. We found that. First squad again. I'm turning. So my squad's finding is we're clearing the buildings, and I'm taking them back to the Humvee where my platoon commander and platoon sergeant McDonald are. I'm taking all this shit back to him, and my platoon commander's getting impatient. He goes, "Can we move this along?" I'll leave it there. Let me just leave a surface-to-air missile launcher there. It was like that the whole fucking day, and it was like this the whole deployment, or the whole time working with the man. But yet I'm the fucking bad guy. So we get done with that. We clear those buildings. We find all that shit, and then that's when DeVecchio starts finding all the trigger sources for the IEDs. So he's on the very far left flank, very, very far left flank. He's the closest to the enemy out there on his own. So it's Morales' team out there. DeVecchio's on the far left flank, and then it's me, Culpepper, and James in the middle, which we call Team OFP. And then you got Delta, its first team, with Jackson, Doherty, and Perry, and they're closest to the road. So we're moving along. DeVecchio find it, the trigger source out. He's like, Sergeant Parks, I found a phone, or I found some wires, I found a generator, I found a battery, I found a switch. He kept finding shit. And so I would follow the wires, and they're thin little comm wires. There's not these red wires like Hurt Locker. Fuck no. It's these thin ass brass comm wire. You can't see that shit. Definitely, you can't see it at night, but during the day, it's hard as fuck to see too. You got to, like, maybe the sun will glint off it. So I'm tracing it, and I'll trace it to. So the very first one I traced to, I think it was. I could tell the ground was all scuffed up, but I think there was a little piece of trash heap right there as a marker, or maybe it was a paint can. I can't remember. But I remember the first one. Yeah, I get to it. I run it, follow the wires into the ground, and then I just I tell everyone to get the fuck back. 150 meters, but everyone's pushing forward 150 meters. So the whole platoon is, and I don't know why, or they're pushing out, but I don't know who was forward. It was another tank, or I don't know. There was people forward, and there shouldn't have been. But anyways, I'm telling everyone to get to the minimum safe distance at least. So I, with my hand, I scrub the top, and it's like a triple stack. And I'm just like, fuck. So I get on the radio and say, tell them what we have. And I don't know if it was relayed. I said, we need to get EOD out here. And I don't know if it was relayed through Sergeant Mack through the PSR radio or through Culpepper with their actual radio. But EOD had to be patched through or something like that. And they said, we can't make it out. We're too taxed in Fallujah. Fallujah's going off. There's IEDs all over the fucking place. And at the time, it was our first one. So he's just thinking it's just one. He just tells me what to do over the radio. He just makes sure it's in a closed circuit. And I'm like, what the fuck is a closed circuit? I don't know what a closed circuit is. I'm not going to go sit there and like sift around in the IED and look for how it's built. And what? Closed circuit? I'm like, Gunner, I don't know what a closed circuit is. And he goes, just make sure you're a safe distance when you cut the wires. I'm like, cut the wires? I was like, fuck. So, I know I say in the book it's a Leatherman. It's just easier to say a Leatherman. The multi-tool. Everyone knows what a Leatherman is and stuff. But I actually had a Gerber Gator. It was a Gerber Gator, and it's a type of a multi-tool. So I break that out, and I had it for the longest time too, because at the end of, you'll see at the end of cutting wires, there was a little notch taken out of the pliers, and I took pride in that, and I still had it for the longest time until long story, but those were special to me, and I had a little notch taken out. But so I cut the fucking wires, and nothing happens. Apparently it's not a closed circuit. So we had the Abrams shoot it with the 50 cal, and it blew up. Okay, whoopie-doo. Let's keep going. DeVecchio again. Sergeant Parks, I got another one. And I'm like, are you fucking shitting me? He goes, no. So I go back to meet him where the trigger source is. It's some kind of weird trigger source, some switch, or maybe this time it was the generator. But I trace the wires again. It's the same fucking shit. Just clear everybody out. But we're moving. I don't understand why we're moving people forward. But everyone's getting moved forward. And I regret this to this day, because now looking back on it, all the other IEDs were forward. So I'm just moving, my troops and all the troops on the other side are just getting moved forward onto the other IEDs that haven't been discovered yet. But we didn't know that. So I traced this one. I think it was another normal one. EOD still can't make it out. And so I'll just cut the fucking wires again like before. Take, whatever, move back. So I don't move back. Like I go up to the IED and I make sure it's the IED and it's there. It's always there. I'll move back, but I'm not moving back like the rest of the guys are. I'm not moving back 150 meters and cutting the wire. No, I'm going back maybe 50, 60 meters, and then I'm cutting it. And then, the tank will blow it in place. Because we didn't have demo with us. The demo guys weren't with us, so we didn't have any C4 or anything like that. So the tank would shoot it with the 50 cal, and it'd blow in place. And then we'd just carry on. So, again, maybe 5 more meters, 6, 10 at the most. You'll find another trigger point. I would trace the wires back to the road. This time, I think on this third or fourth one, it was different. And so when I looked at the idea, I saw the top of the propane tank buried in there, and then that's their version of homemade napalm. So that was an eye fucking opener. So I moved back. I of course tell everyone, and then what I'm seeing. So cut the wires again. So when the 50 cal shoots it from the Abrams and it blows in place, you see this huge, instead of just dirt and debris, it's this huge fireball, just like this small little mushroom crawl out of it, like a mini nuke. It was weird. So in my head, I'm just like, and I'm sure every Marine out there is just like, holy fucking shit, we got this to look forward to. So we move on, we push further ahead. I came to this. We caught a break there for a little bit. We didn't find any for a bit, and then all of a sudden we found another one. And there's this house full of all these military-age men, all dressed in black. No women around, no children around, just all dressed in black. These military-age men just hiding out in this fucking house, and they're surrounding these buildings. So they're watching us, and so I fired 2 shots at these guys that are down this way, just warning shots, because I can't shoot them because I don't have a weapon. But I put 2 rounds over their head, and they disappear. And then that building in front of us were I think there's like 12 of them in there. It's like a squad size of military-age men. I send Delta's team in there, and we're outside cording it off, and Delta snatch them all up, flex cuff every fucking one of them. So I have them ordered to flex cuff them. They're all on their knees in front of us. I'm getting ready to snatch them up and throw them in the back of the 7-ton so Het team can interrogate them later. And Delta finds a weapon in there. And I tell him to break it and dismantle it. It's an AK, and so he destroys it. And then I get told over the radio to cut him free. Yeah, they're just regrouping, but yeah, let's cut him free. So yeah, that didn't go over well. It didn't go over well with Delta. It didn't go over with Morales. It didn't go over well with any of the guys in the squad. But yeah, I gave the order, cut him free. So we cut 12 military-age men free, all dressed in black. And they took off running. And so we carried on. And here's where it gets complicated. And we argued about this at the reunion. Stockwell, myself, Delta, and James. And, of course, Mendoza was there, too. And, Delta was trying to figure out, it's like, how many did you cut that day, Parks? And I'm like, and Stockwell's like, it had to have been 20. And Delta's like, yeah, it was 20. James is like, I don't know, 16, 20. It had to have been. And it's like, I don't remember. I stopped counting at 10. I think everyone should just come up with a number. I mean, get with Del Vecchio. It should be in his award. But you guys come up with a number. I'll just nod my head and say, whatever, yeah, sure. I don't know how many were cut that day. I don't know how many I cut. I just know there's a notch taken out of my Gerber Gator, and that is like stainless steel, like indestructible. So that's how many I cut to knock a notch out of my little Gerber Gator pliers. So it took a notch. That's how many I cut that day. So whatever that equivalents to, then that's how many were cut. But you guys come up with a number. Y'all, I mean, I come up with a number. I'll just nod my head. Sounds good to me. So we carry on. First squad's out there until nightfall. We finally get relieved by Stockwell squad. So we're taking a break. We're in the back of the Humvees, and it's nightfall. And I hear over the PSR, because I'm in the front of the 7-ton. And I hear over the PSR, all right, break out your Redlands flashlights and start dragging your feet. I mean, I'm hearing this over the radio. And then, of course, the squad leaders, Stockwell and B-Gang, repeat the order. But, I mean, it's not on them. It's just they were given that order. And in my head, I'm in the 7-ton, like, what in the fuck? Yep. Let's drag our feet so the boots get caught on the wires. And then let's break out a Redlands flashlight so snipers have an easier target. I mean, that makes a whole fucking hell of a lot of sense. So we're in the 7-ton. I don't know how long we're in the 7-ton for. And I don't know how long they're out there searching for IEDs. But it didn't seem like they found any until Stockwell found one. His squad found one. He saw it. He called it in. I remember him saying over the PSR, I found one too. And then the next thing you know, just a cloud of debris and dust. It just hits the 7-ton window. Just immediately, I get out. My squad's off. We're react, of course. So we're securing the objective. securing the LZ for Kazivac if there's any, but we hear corpsman up. Everyone's shouting corpsman up, corpsman up. We don't know. I don't know who's down. I have no clue. I'm just told to go secure, and my squad's securing the LZ in the area. If there was a trigger man, because we had LAV with us, the light armored reconnaissance vehicles, the LARs are right there. They have thermal sights. I mean, if there was someone around, they would have pointed them out to us, and they would have lit them up with the 20 mic. And then my job as a react is to locate and close with and destroy the enemy, and so that's what I was looking forward to doing. But there's no triggerman. I don't know how the idea got set off. No one really knows. It's just I don't know if his Stockwell's radio, the radio freak set it off because they're using cell phones and shit. Who knows? I mean, I really honestly don't know how it went off. But there was no enemy. It was not an enemy because there's a whole goddamn, I don't know how many of us were out there. It's just, we would have fucking killed them. So I'm sitting there waiting with my squad. We're securing the LZ. Kazivac comes in for B game, Zeter, Holloway, and Stevenson, in Lansing, and they were all down. I think some were even pronounced dead. I don't know, but they had to be Kazivac back to TQ. They have a whole adventure story. All of them lived. That's how I know God was on Bravo's side. Friendly fire, firefights, mortars, being blown up. No one died. And people got fucked up, but no one died. Everyone swinging dick from Bravo came back. So, God, war gods. They were all on our side. So, yeah. So, they got Kazivac out. I'm thinking in my head, man, I got to put, some death dates on my arm. When I get back to the States, tattoos. And because we were told B game is dead. We were told, there could be multiple KIAs. We didn't know. And so I'm sitting there waiting. So we're down 5 men. Everyone's shooken up. And so I'm sitting there waiting with my squad. And it's 0 dark 30. And then I get the order again, Sergeant Park, carry on, break out the red lens flashlights, and drag your feet. Yeah, that's not happening. I said, negative, Gunny. I'm not giving that fucking order to my men. And he goes, you need to think about what you're doing. I said, you need to carry on. I'm like, negative. I'm not giving that order to my men. And then he goes, you're relieved of command. I said, roger that. So I grab my men and bring them all around. Well, first he gets on the radio and goes, all right, Sergeant Heisinger, who's Delta. And he goes, because he's my first team leader, he goes, take charge of the squad and carry out the orders. And Delta goes, negative, Gunny. I'm not giving that order. And then he goes, Delta, Sergeant Heisinger, you're relieved of command. And both you and Sergeant Parks get back to the 7th ton. So I gather the troops, get the squad around. I'm like, hey, listen, this is what the orders are. Drag your feet and break out your red lens flashlight. And carry on, and I'm not giving that fucking order to you, man. I'm just not gonna do it. You can, this is where you got to make your own decision. You can either follow me back to the, back to the 7 tons, or stay here and Stockwell's coming over to take command. So me and Delta left, and we get into the back of the 7 ton. I think like 3 or 4 minutes later, the whole squad comes piling in. I get all choked up, but it's emotional. But yeah, the whole squad came piling in. We're with you, Sergeant Parks. That was it. That's the Fallujah incident. So they told Stockwell, nope, they're going with their squad leader, and they came with me. He told platoon commander told Dela Cruz to carry on, to take over on the other squads, and Sergeant McDonald went to go stop our platoon commander. He got his foot caught on the shoulder strap of the surface-to-air missile launcher in the back of the Humvee, and fell out and shattered his collarbone. But he was on his way to, I think he was on his way to relieve our platoon commander of his command. I know I talked to Staff Sergeant Rees on the way back, and he was, you should have came to me, blah blah blah, So, but there's a lot of things I should have done, could have done, but it was a long day. I was tired. I'm not gonna risk my men's lives. I've already been doing it all day. And it had been a long deployment with that motherfucker, so too many mistakes on his part, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I'm not gonna do it again. So we were relieved. We get back to, we finished the mission. No more IDs are found. Nothing's done. It was cakewalk. As we're driving back to our compound in Fallujah, or the Fallujah Peninsula, where the rest of the company is, I go by that building where we nabbed all those. We're driving by that building where I nabbed all those fuckers. Our squad zip tied all those fuckers, military age men, and there's nothing but women and children playing in that building now. And so I knew they were enemy. There's nothing but women and children in that. So I get back to command in the compound. I go talk to Major Miller. I debrief with him, tell him what happened, and he understands. He said for me to stay clear of Gunny Hoffman for a bit, because Gunny Hoffman, he didn't know the whole story either, but I eventually went and talked. He said I need to go talk to a HET team because of the intelligence team and the interrogators, let them know what I found. So I told the HET team, I went to go debrief with their CO, and I told him what our squad encountered, and he goes, why didn't you call us out? We would have been out there in a heartbeat, nabbed those fuckers. Why didn't you call us? We needed that information. Hey, sir, I tried. I tried to arrest them all. I tried to, not arrest them, but I tried to snatch all of their asses up. They didn't have any rights, so they're not getting arrested. Every time we snatched someone up, we never saw them again. When they went to the HET team, we never saw them again. Perry might have when he was dealing with the prisoners and HVTs, transport all over Iraq before he rejoined us. But yeah, we never saw him again. So I had him. And so that was the end of that. I was relieved. I stuck around with the really while the rest of the Fallujah was going on. I really didn't answer to anybody. No one watched over me. I just sat. I bounced from rooftop to rooftop in the compound, just standing watch, just for the hell of it. Yeah, just stare at the Euphrates at night and just sit there and think. And sometimes I'd think about just grabbing my shit and walking straight into the middle of Fallujah and just joining like 3-5 or somebody, But then I thought I'd give Bravo too much shit. They're already getting skylined as it is. So they kept me separated from 2nd Platoon. I just bounced around, stood watch whenever I could. Enjoyed it, didn't answer anybody. No one had me on the roster. I could have easily walked away, but I didn't. And then eventually Atterbury put me on the Mortarman's roster and got me back to TQ. We pulled out of Fallujah for Thanksgiving. We were each given 2 Bacardi rum shots and a beer from Budweiser. We got back to TQ. I got none because I was on anyone's roster. No one took account for me. So Atterbury scrounged them up for me. I think I took the rum shots, but I refused the beer because I wanted to have my first beer back on American soil. So Atterbury got me my 2 rum shots, and really, I fucking had a hangover the next. I think we all had a hangover the next day. But that's where we came back on Thanksgiving. Got to call our folks for the first time. Everyone was happy. I called my mom, let her know I was okay. We were all doing good. I remember taking the first shower at TQ after 27 days, and especially after I fell in the shit canal on the 4th. So we didn't have any camis. They told us it was going to last 7 days. 27 days later, all we packed was chow, ammo, and I think socks. So I had shit camis for 27 days, and I just remember taking that first shower. It was like black soot just came off of me. It just I think all the drains got clogged by all the Marines. It was just we were nasty. But it was a good Thanksgiving. We came back. So we stayed in TQ, and then we moved to Ramadi. The unit moved to Ramadi, and we're just running patrols out of there and securing the supply routes and all that stuff. I didn't get to participate much in that. I was with headquarters platoon at the time, so the line platoons were going out there and doing checkpoints and stuff like that. But it was nothing really major happened after. There's no major offensives after that. But that was pretty much it. Ramadi, we got back. Our platoon commander, the piece of shit, went outside of the chain of command. Went to battalion to try to fry me and my men. They charged us with cowardice in front of enemy, some other bullshit charges. It was all bullshit, and I was like, nope. I'd written an 18-page debrief for why my platoon commander was such a fuck up, and why he shouldn't have been in command. And then I said, no, I want a trial by court-martial by my peers, which would have been sergeants, and no way they're gonna fucking agree with that asshole. So, and there had been infantry sergeants too, so it would have been a win. So they tried to charge us all. So I was going to fight it with the court-martial. They brought in the same JAG lawyer that gave us our Fallujah speech, but they brought him in from Kuwait. He was a dick, I guess, to the guys, the men. He wasn't a dick to me. He brought me aside inside the hooch because I was still going to fight it. And then he goes, listen, I read your debrief. I can see where you're coming from. And I've talked to everyone else. Everyone's story's the same. It's not changing. But here's what's going to happen when we get back. If this continues and we don't find an agreement out here, this is going to happen when we get back. You guys are active duty. You're going to get arrested. You're going to go to the brig, every one of you, and then you're going to wait for your trial by court-martial. There's going to be no homecoming, no parents. They're going to have to visit you in jail. And I'm thinking in my head it's going to be Camp Pendleton Brig. So that's the nearest brig, I think, once we get back to 29 Palms. If they don't ship us to Leavenworth while we wait for trial. So that was laid on me as a squad leader. And so he goes, you can take this deal where you get busted down to corporal and everyone loses a rank. Everyone in the squad loses a rank and it goes away. I was like, roger that. Yeah, I wasn't going to have everyone get arrested as soon as we get back to the States. And parents go and visit their Marines in prison. Just wasn't going to do it. So yeah, so I took the deal. I talked to the guys, got them to take the deal too. It sucked. But then our command came through and swept it under the rug. So it went away. We all got promoted. I got a combat decoration. Culpepper got his combat decoration. Del Vecchio got his combat decoration. But I wrote everybody up for combat decorations, and that piece of shit platoon commander grabbed all the men, all my boys, the squad. I wasn't there, of course, and had all the write-ups in his hand for their combat awards and threw them in a fire in front of them. So that's the kind of piece of shit we had. He'd rather throw their combat valor in fire than admit that they were good Marines. That's the kind of piece of shit we were following into combat. So that was it. That was the end of Ramadi, but it got swept under the rug. What's that? The next one is coming home. What were you feeling? What were the feelings experienced on the plane trip, the welcome home ceremony, seeing family, wives, girlfriends for the first time, and finally actually going home, walking in the door and knowing it's over? Your loved one's reactions. Okay. Going home. We were all excited to go home. We were flying home. I remember sitting next to Dowden on the plane on the way back, and we were talking. I know everyone was having plans on what they're going to do when they get back. I remember we flew into Frankfurt, Germany. They opened up the liquor store, which was a dumb fucking idea. But they had us cordoned off. There's these huge panes of glass, like 20 feet tall, like separating the Marines from like the civilians. But the civilians were like pressed against the glass or taking pictures of us like we were zoo animals. It was just weird. But a lot of the Marines just headed straight for the liquor store in the airport, and they bought all sorts of shit, which I feel bad for the flight attendants on the rest of the flight home, because they were throwing up in the bathroom, throwing up all over the back, being dickheads. We could hear them. And if you were one of those Marines, you fucked up by drinking and getting wasted. It was great. I'm sure everyone felt great, having the first fucking liquor and booze coming back. But I wanted to wait to have my first beer on American soil. So I didn't drink, and a lot of us didn't drink. But those that did, you fucked up. So I felt bad for those flight attendants. They had to put up with a lot. So we get back to 29 Palms. We do all this shit. Everyone's getting wasted there back to 29 Palms. Everything's just kind of cold. None of the shit from Iraq's carrying over, but we all miss Iraq. Every deep down one of us, everyone missed Iraq. 29 Palms were there. I remember we getting a debrief, some classes on how to decompress and readjust to society. Everyone laughed at it. It was a joke. It was like a 45-minute class on how to readjust to society. Fuck society. Who cares? So that's what we did. That was our class to it was like 45 minutes, and we all joked through it and bullshit. And even the presentator, the guy presenting the class was a Marine, and he was bullshitting the way through it too. So I mean, we didn't know what was in store for us when we got back into society. So we go from 29 Palms back to Bossier, and the welcome home ceremony, and it was bittersweet. Everyone introduced me. Everyone's everything. It was great, but my family couldn't make it. I think my uncle and my cousin showed up, and then we went to the casino. That was it. I got wasted. But actually going home, walking in the door, I really just wanted to go back to Iraq, to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us did. So that's basically it. I just missed it. I missed that sense of purpose. That was my addiction, was purpose. I missed it, so I floundered. How did the Marine Corps impact my life in my deployment? I mean, it gave me a good standing in life. It got me where I am today, but it also cost me a lot. The Marine Corps did. I wouldn't change it, but I would change it. There's a lot I would change about my Marine Corps career, and drinking would be the one of them. But it impacted my family, made me a horrible husband, made me an abusive husband, made me a piece of shit, and then I was horrible to my kids. So I mean, yelling and short temper and no patience. So yeah, it impacted a lot, and it took away a lot. And I can't get that back. I can't. I tried. I just can't. I can't get any of it back. So I mean, I wish I could. I would, especially with my second wife. Yeah. So I am a piece of shit for what I've done. So I would like to change a lot, but I would like to still been Bravo Company 123, battling bastards. It's a double-edged sword. Any final thoughts, recommendations for the younger generation of grunt? Yeah, man, if you're a grunt, don't drink. I mean, it's impossible to say because you're a grunt. You're gonna drink. But my thing is, from private to Lance Corporal, get wasted. Get it out of your system. Corporal on up, focus on your career. There's no reason to go over 6 drinks. I mean, nothing good comes with it. You can still have a great time, just a couple beers. It's just when you're corporal and above, you need to focus on your career. You need to focus on your men, and that's my recommendation to the younger generation. Just don't drink. It's a career killer, and especially if you let it take a hold of you. I mean, go out, have a good time, be a great Marine, be a good Marine. I mean, fucking drink, but when you're corporal and above, it's time to rein it in, and just don't go above 6, and focus on your men, focus on your career. Get all that training and experience you can. I remember when they kept volunteering me for schools. I was like, I don't want to go to fucking another school. I don't want to go to this school. I don't want to go to close combat instructor's course. I don't want to go to mountain instructor's course. I don't want to do any of this crap. But no, go. Yeah, because that's going to look great on your wall. It's going to look great on your resume later in life. So as a younger generation, private, the Lance Corporal, party your balls off. Make all the mistakes you want. But corporal and above, focus on your career, even if you're only in for 4, and focus on your men. And that's it. Lead by example. That's all I got. I hope everyone got something out of this, and I hope the rest of the Bravo Company Marines will kind of look upon this and give them courage to not courage, but I mean, you guys already have all the courage in the world, but just give you a chance to drop your pack and get some shit off your chest. I love you guys all, and I hope you guys hope y'all have a great, happy holidays, and take care of your family, and embrace them, and cherish what you have. All right? You guys take care.
You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.